Looks like it's the election day tomorrow. I should hop on Facebook and see what my friends think. Huh! Looks like my Facebook feed is full of people who are my friends, families, colleagues, and trusted individuals that if I vote against them in this election, I'm a cuck! My rant today is a little non-traditional as far as my rants are normally considered. I know that voting is incredibly important, and I'm telling you, you need to go vote, and you're watching this hopefully on election day. If you haven't decided to, get out there and do your civic duty. But I want to talk specifically about the people online, your friends, your family, your relatives, who have wrapped themselves up entirely on talking about the president and the president alone. Now, don't get me wrong, I understand the importance of the office of the president, but I argue, and that's the point of this video, that the local communities, state and county bills and elected officials that represent you from your local home area more important than your vote for president. You see, a lot of this comes down to understanding what the powers of the president actually are. The president is responsible for the military, he is the chief and head of the military, but understand he can't just go to war, he has to go to Congress to go to war. And understand the president can appoint Supreme Court judges, but only after they've been approved by the legislative branch. And the president doesn't have the power to make law or create budgets that get placed into effect aside from the state of emergency. This all goes through the legislative process. There are checks and balances on all of his powers. So even if you don't get the presidential candidate you care about, you still have an understanding and hopefully a belief in the government that they're not just going to get whatever they want. And I've heard all the horror stories or concerns about executive action, but understand executive action is a direction to another bureau, the ATF for example, to do something that the president is requesting. Understand that those actions also fall under the scrutiny of the Supreme Court. No president can push for any action without it being adjudicated as though it were law. And while yes, there have been instances where things like the Japanese internment of World War II was an executive action that was overturned and recently damages were provided to those people, etc., etc., laws have been changed to restrict the power of the executive branch. But the point of this video today is to talk about what I think is more important. And what I think is more important is to be involved in your local communities, your local county, your local state elections. In my hot little hands here, I hold the LA County ballot. This is also inclusive of the California laws they want to pass, and here, on just 2 pages, we have things like increase cigarette tax for $2 a pack, release or parole consideration for nonviolent felons who are juvenile, condom requirement for adult movies. Why? Why do we even get the government involved in this? Like, these are actual things that will affect your life. Death penalty initiative, revoking it, getting rid of it in California entirely. The firearms ammunition background check requirement, meaning every time I go and buy ammo, I have to get a background check. Marijuana legalization. Listen, all those things are going to be immediately impactful on your life, and those are things that you can actually go to your city council in some cases and fight against, or even your county, or even your state. You can be far more effective, even in a big state like California, and you will be way more effective in changing some of these stupid laws or moving the state more to the direction you want it to be in. We all know California leads as far as being one of the most anti-gun states in the union, but that doesn't mean we haven't made some strides to the positive. And it's those strides we need to aiming for. Understand, when you go on Facebook and you post something, you find something interesting and you post it, that's great, but most likely you're not going to be changing anyone's minds. No one's minds are going to be moved at all when it comes to these celebrity politicians that we have right now, and have been for decades. No, your real benefit is going to be going after things in the community, county, and state level. You can actually affect change with regards to what goes on in your local everyday life. I get it. The president and the powers that he wields or she wields can be scary, can be intimidating, but once you pull back the curtain and understand really what their powers are, you realize that while important, yes, largely do not have a large effect on your day-to-day life. And once you've demystified the presidency as far as what their abilities are against you, hopefully you look at the local level and figure out what they're trying to do. Just for example, the city I live in, Cerritos, they're trying to push for a 1% tax hike. And the reason they're doing that is because they can't meet the budget. We have a reserve of $56-something million, and we can't meet a budget that is closable. The reason is we've got lots of expenditures for things that nobody in the city really wants. Who's to blame for that? Well, it's council and it's also the city staff and management. What do we have to do? We have to vote those people out. We have to go to our council meetings and we have to argue for explaining why we shouldn't have these services that no one wants. If no one wants these services, then why would we need to be taxed more to pay for them? Just get rid of the service. But understand, if all you ever do is look on Facebook and see what your friends are posting, or look online and see funny gotcha articles about the presidential candidates and you post them on Facebook, then you're missing the larger point of what's happening at your local level. So I implore you, an easy place to start, very easy, is go on Facebook and find the local community for your city you live in. Join that community, read through it, see if they talk about council meetings, see if you're seeing things like signs pop up, and signs when I mean like election signs, or no on measure this, no on measure that, no on prop, whatever. Also, go to your city's website, figure out what the agenda is for the council meetings, and decide if you really need to go in and say something. Be active, get involved. And that means possibly engaging with your local community, your local citizens. Host a meeting, have people come to your house, or go to someone else's house. A lot of times, you don't have to be the starter. There's plenty of people who are already doing this, and you just need to get active in what they're doing. So I guess really in the end, I'm not so much ranting as I am just wanting to tell you, I'm a little disappointed in you. I want you to do more and get more active in your local communities. If you already are, then this message is not for you. It's for the larger community of people who all I see online is screeching, this party is better than this party, and if you vote for this party, you're voting for FEMA death camps, or Hillary Clinton is a criminal, or Donald Trump is gonna murder illegal Mexican children. All of this is hyperbole, and it's obfuscating the real problems, your local real problems. We keep focusing so much at the federal level that people are pushing all this lower level local crap down our throats, and we're not even stopping them. We're not even getting involved. Simply being active. Just active. You don't even have to put money into this. You don't even really have to go pound the pavement and go door to door. Just getting active and making your voice heard at things like a council meeting does volumes more than just sharing posts on Facebook. So allies, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give me a thumbs up. And if you like this message and you think this is a message that's important and needs to get out, please share this on your socials, particularly Facebook, because that's where everybody is throwing all this shitstorm, slinging mud, doing all this stuff that we really just need to stop. We're gonna have disagreements, but we all need to understand that those disagreements are supported by this three-tiered government system. The checks and balances don't just let anything fly, and you're not voting in a dictator when you go pass in your ballot tomorrow. It may be scary, I understand that, and you may be diametrically opposed with the politics of the other party. I get that too. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't be active on our local level, which is more effective or against our day-to-day lives.